Hello students, I am Laxman Singh Rawat, PGT Chemistry at CIS Dasua. Students, I hope you are enjoying this method of teaching learning that CIS Dasua has come up in this hours of crisis. CIS Dasua's e-learning is helping students to study at their home so that they do not lag behind due to this lockdown. We will continue with our chapter, The Structure of Atom. Today we shall be discussing the dual behavior of electromagnetic radiation, then atomic spectra, and in atomic spectra we'll be studying the emission as well as the absorption spectra, then the spectra of hydrogen atom. Let us take a quick recap of the previous topic which we had discussed. When a surface is irradiated with light, a part of radiant energy is reflected as such only. A part of it is absorbed and a small part of it is transmitted. The reason for incomplete absorption is that ordinary objects are, as a rule, imperfect absorber of radiations. An ideal body which emits and absorbs radiation of all frequency uniformly is called black body, and the radiation emitted by such a body is called black body radiation. The amount of the light emitted or the intensity of radiation from a black body and its spectral distribution depends only on its temperature. At a given temperature, the intensity of radiation emitted increases with increase of wavelength, reaches a maximum value at a given wavelength, and then starts decreasing with further increase of wavelength. This is true for any given temperature, as you will notice in the figure. With the increase of wavelength, the intensity of the radiation emitted increases, it reaches a maxima, and after which it starts to fall. And corresponding to this maxima, at different temperature, different colors are observed. Also, as the temperature increases, the maxima of the curve shifts to shorter wavelength. You will notice that as we are moving from 3000, 4000, 5000 to 6000, increase of temperature is there. You will notice that the maxima is shifting toward the lower or shorter wavelength, and corresponding to this maxima, different colors will be observed. That means with the change of color, with the change of temperature, the color also changes as the maxima is shifting from the higher wavelength to the shorter wavelength. Several attempts were made to predict the intensity of radiation as a function of wavelength. But the result of the above experiment could not be explained satisfactorily on the basis of the wave theory of light. Since in that case, the intensity was proportional to the amplitude square, that means the color would not have changed, only the brightness would have changed according to the wave theory. However, Max Planck arrived at a satisfactory relationship by suggesting that atoms and molecules could emit or absorb energy only in discrete quantities and not in continuous manner. He gave the name quantum to the smallest quantity of energy that can be emitted or absorbed in the form of electromagnetic radiation. The energy of a quantum of radiation is proportional to its frequency and is given by the equation E equals to h nu, where h is the Planck constant and is equal to 6.626 into 10 inverse 34 joules second. And with this theory, Planck was able to explain the distribution of intensity in the radiation from black body as a function of frequency or wavelength at different temperatures. So it was Planck who correlated the energy of the radiation with frequency. That means as the frequency of the radiation changes, the energy also changes. That's why when we shift from red to blue, we are basically moving from lower energy to higher energy. And that's how the color also changes. When light of suitable frequency called the threshold frequency falls on a metal surface, electrons are ejected from it. And this is called photoelectric effect. Now what happened here is, when each particle of the light called photons collide with an electron, it uses some of its energy to dislodge it from the metal surface, and the rest of the energy of the photon is used up in transferring the kinetic energy to the electron. The now free roaming negative charge is called the photoelectrons. That means the electron which is ejected from it are called the photoelectron. Remember, when light falls on the metal surface, a part of the energy is used up in removing the electron from its surface, and rest of the energy is utilized in giving it the kinetic energy. So more is the energy of the incident radiation, more will be the kinetic energy. Since the amount of energy required to remove the electron from metal surface is fixed, and that is called the work function. Now let us start with today's topic. Dual behavior of electromagnetic radiation. The particle nature of light posed a dilemma for scientists. On the one hand, it could explain the blackbody radiation and photoelectric effect satisfactorily, but on the other hand, it could not explain the phenomena of interference and diffraction, which could only be explained considering the wave nature of light. The only way to resolve this dilemma was to accept the idea that light possesses both particle and wave like properties. That is, light has dual nature. Depending on the experiment, light can behave either as wave or as a stream of particles. Whenever radiation interacts with matter, it displays particle like properties in contrast to wave like properties which it exhibits when it propagates. Also, you will see later on that some microscopic particles like electrons, they also exhibit the wave particle duality. That means they can also behave as particle as well as wave. We will be discussing the evidence for quantized electronic energy levels or the atomic spectra. But before that, let us try to understand the spectra. Since we know that the beam of light is deviated or refracted from its original path as it passes from one medium to another medium. It is observed that when a ray of white light, which consists of waves with all the wavelength in the visible region, is passed through a prism, it spreads out into a series of colored bands called spectrum. In this spectrum, it is seen that the light of red color, which has the longest wavelength, is deviated the least, while the violet light, which has the shortest wavelength, is deviated the most. Such type of spectrum is called continuous spectrum. It is called continuous spectrum because the violet merges into blue, the blue into green, and so on. A similar spectrum is observed when a rainbow is formed in the sky. When electromagnetic radiations interact with matter, atoms and molecules may absorb energy and reach to a higher energy state. With higher energy, these are in unstable state. For returning to their normal, that is the more stable lower energy state, the atoms and molecules emit radiation in various regions of the electromagnetic spectrum, thus giving rise to the emission and absorption spectra, which we will be studying now. Now let us see what is this emission and absorption spectra. First we will understand emission spectrum. When a beam of electromagnetic radiation is sent through a sample of atoms or molecules, the electrons in them absorbs energy and the electron transfer themselves to a higher energy state. When these electrons fall back to their earlier energy states they occupied, they give away the additional energy they had absorbed. The spectrum of radiation emitted by a substance that has absorbed energy is called an emission spectrum. And the atoms or molecules or the ions that have absorbed radiation are said to be excited. To produce an emission spectrum, the energy is supplied to a sample by heating it or irradiating it, and the wavelength or frequency of the radiation emitted as the sample gives up the absorbed energy is recorded. The emission spectra of atoms in the gaseous phase do not show a continuous spread of wavelength from red to violet, as in the case of continuous spectrum. Rather, they emit light only at specific wavelengths with dark spaces between them. So we'll see the colored line in otherwise the dark background. This is the emission spectra. Now, what is this absorption spectra? When electromagnetic radiation is passed through a certain material, some characteristic wavelengths are absorbed by the element in the material, and due to the absence of these absorbed electromagnetic radiation, dark line appears in the spectrum. How this happens is when a hot source emitting a continuous spectrum is allowed to fall or pass through a cloud of gas absorbing some colors, the transmitted light is passed through slit than through the prism, and absorption spectrum is obtained. In the absorption spectrum, dark lines are seen in otherwise the colored background. An absorption spectrum is like the photographic negative of an emission spectrum. When a continuum of radiation is passed through a sample which absorbs a radiation of certain wavelength, the missing wavelength corresponds to the radiation absorbed by the matter. It leaves dark spaces in the bright continuous spectrum. Now let us try to understand the difference between continuous spectrum and the line spectrum. A continuous spectrum is created by putting both the absorption and emission spectra together. The main requirement for spectrum to be continuous is that it should contain all the wavelength within a given range. For example, visible light when diffracted produces a continuous spectrum. The line spectra are, however, generated only in either absorption spectrum or the emission spectrum. The line spectra can be produced by using the same source of light which produces a continuous spectrum. Under high pressure, a gas produces a continuous spectrum. However, under low pressure, the same gas can give rise to either an absorption or an emission spectrum. If the gas is cold, it gives rise to an absorption spectra. However, if the gas is produced in association with heat, it produces an emission spectra. The line emission spectra are of great interest in the study of electronic structure. Each element has a unique line emission spectrum. The characteristic line in the atomic spectra can be used in chemical analysis to identify the unknown atoms in the same way as the fingerprints are used to identify peoples. The exact matching of lines of the emission spectrum of the atom of a known element with the lines from an unknown sample quickly establishes the identity of later. In fact, Robert Bunsen was one of the first investigators to use line spectra to identify elements. Many elements like rubidium, cesium, thallium, indium were discovered when their minerals were analyzed by spectroscopic method. In fact, the element helium was discovered in the sun by spectroscopic method only. Now let us try to understand the line spectrum of hydrogen. When an electric discharge is passed through gaseous hydrogen, the H2 molecule dissociates and the excited hydrogen atom start to emit electromagnetic radiation of discrete frequencies. The hydrogen spectrum consists of several series of lines named after their discoverers. Balmer showed that if spectral lines are expressed in terms of wave numbers, then the visible lines of the hydrogen spectrum obey the following formula. That is, nu bar equals to 109677 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon n square centimeter inverse. Here, n is an integer which can be equal to or greater than 3. That is, n can take a value 3, 4, 5, 6 onward till infinity. The series of lines described by this above formula are called the Balmer series. The only line in the hydrogen spectrum which appears in the visible region of the electromagnetic spectrum. It was Johannes Rydberg who noted that all series of lines in the hydrogen spectrum could be described by the formula nu bar equals to 109677 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square centimeter inverse, where n1 can take up the value 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. and N2 has to be greater than N1 by at least 1 unit. That is, N2 can take up the value N1 plus 1, N1 plus 2, N1 plus 3, etc. The value 109677 centimeter inverse is called the Rydberg constant for hydrogen. The first 5 series of line that corresponds to N1 equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are known as the Lyman series, the Balmer series, the Pastum series, the Brackett and the Fun series. Table below show the series of transition in the hydrogen spectrum. The Lyman series, for this N1 equals to 1 and N2 can take up the value 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And it is seen in the ultraviolet region. Then for Balmer series, N1 is equal to 2 and N2 is equal to 3, 4, 5, etc. And it is the only series which is visible as it lies in the visible region. Then is the Pastum series. For Pastum series, N1 equals to 3 and N2 will take up the value 3 onward, that is 4, 5, 6, 7 onward till infinity, and it is seen in the infrared region. Bracket, for this N1 equals to 1 and N2 equals to 5, 6, 7 onward, and it is also seen in the infrared region. Then we have the Fun series. For this N1 equals to 5, N2 equals to 6, 7, 8 onward, and this is also seen in the infrared region. The figure given below shows the Lyman, Balmer and the Pastum series of transitions for hydrogen atom. In this figure, the first series is the Lyman series, where the N1 takes up value 1 and N2 can take up value 2, 3, 4 and onward values. And this is the series which is present in the ultraviolet region. Then we have the Balmer series which can be present in the visible as well as the ultraviolet region. For this, N1 equals to 2 and N2 can take up the value 3 onward, either 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. Then we have the Pastum series. In the case of Pastum series, we have N1 equals to 3 and N2 will take up a value more than this, that is either 4, 5, 6 and onward. This will give us the Pastum series. Now, on the extreme left hand side, 3 arrows are given. The first one is the absorption. When absorption takes place, the substance or the atoms or molecule get excited and the electron moves from lower level to higher energy level. In that case, we see the absorption spectra. When this electrons from higher energy level jumps onto any lower energy level, we get the emission spectra. And for hydrogen, if a potential difference more than 13.6 electron volt is applied, or this much of potential difference is applied, then the electron is completely removed from its orbit and we get the ionization of hydrogen done. Of all the elements, hydrogen atom has the simplest line spectrum, as it has only one electron, so it has the simplest line spectrum. The line spectrum becomes more and more complex for heavier atom. As the number of electron increases, the complexity of the line spectrum also increases. There are, however, certain features which are common to all line spectra. That is, the line spectrum of element is unique to each one of them, and there is regularity in the line spectrum of each element. That means all the atoms of same element will show similar kind of line spectrum. Now, what is the reason for these similarities? We get the answers of all these questions in understanding the electronic structure of these elements. This we will be discussing in the Bohr's model. Thank you. Thank you very much.